Welcome everyone to the City of Indian Rocks Beach regular City Commission meeting. This is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand for a few moments of silence. Thank you. Lauren, would you do the roll call, please? Commissioner King? Here. Commissioner Bigelow?
Present.
Commissioner Bond?
Here.
Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson? Present. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg? Here. Thank you. Now I would like to open up the floor to public comments. Each speaker will have a 3-minute time limit. Any member of the audience may come forward, give their name and address, and state any comment or concern. Okay, because I have, okay. The presentations tonight will be the report of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Can you please come forward?
Good evening. So I'm happy to report that for January 2025, for January 2025, we only had 2 offense reports. One was for a misdemeanor assault and one was for a misdemeanor theft. We have had a total of 7 people arrested in the city of Indian Rocks Beach during the month of February 2025. And that arrest breakdown has been in the following sequence. We had 1 domestic violence arrest, 2 trespass after warning arrests, 1 warrant arrest, 3 traffic misdemeanors, and those encompassed 1 no valid license and 2 driving on suspended license. We have had a total of 246 traffic stops conducted in the month of February, with a total of 121 brake patrols and 94 vehicles that have been reported as illegally parked that have been addressed by our deputies. There was a total of 3 crashes in the city of Indian Rocks in the month of February. 1 was located at the intersection of 13th Avenue and Gulf Boulevard. Another one was at 5th Avenue East, Gulf Boulevard. And then the last one, the 2206 Beach Trail. There have been 322 citations and warnings issued in the city of Indian Rocks in February 2025, 229 of which were traffic warnings, and 70 of which were for parking violations. That's all we have to report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I don't have any particulars on the arrest, but I can get them.
Thank you. Does anyone on the commission have any questions? Thank you. Next, I'd like to have the report of the Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District. Hi.
Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hampton. I'm the district administrator with Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District. I'm here on behalf of Fire Chief Ken Grimes, who is currently in Tallahassee at the Legislative Forum. I'm pleased to announce that Chief Grimes was recently hired as the new fire chief of PSFRD and has come to us from the Pinellas County EMS and Fire Administration, where he served as the EMS and Fire Operations Manager. Chief Grimes brings with him many years of diverse experience in the fire and EMS field in both the public and private sectors. So just to provide a quick overview, PSFRD provides fire suppression, advanced life support, water rescue, fire prevention, community risk reduction, and public education services, and it is equipped to mitigate all hazards or emergencies that arise. Pinellas County operates as a 2-tiered EMS system, with our firefighters responding to the scene within 5 minutes and 30 seconds 90% of the time. A private ambulance company then provides transportation to the emergency room with an average scene response time of 12 minutes and 30 seconds 90% of the time. As for the department's monthly report, during the month of February, there were a total of 48 emergency calls to the city of Indian Rocks Beach. This includes 35 medical calls, including medical emergencies, water rescues, motor vehicle crashes, and 13 fire-related calls, which includes various fire or hazard-related calls, to include fire alarms and elevator-related emergencies. To zoom out just a little, during the spring break season, which we consider from February 1st to date, our crews have responded to a total of 65 EMS incidents within the city of Indian Rocks, with 7 of those being critically injured or ill patients requiring transport to the emergency room. So I'm not really sure what the chief always provided before, because this is my first time here, but
You're doing great.
I'm just going to give a few updates on some other items. Training, since the beginning of the year, our personnel have completed a total of 480 hours of continuing medical education, with a recent focus on cardiovascular emergencies and mass casualty triage. They have additionally completed a total of 1,762 hours of fire and all hazard training since the beginning of the year. So the exciting news for Indian Rocks Beach, we are currently under contract with Church of the Isles right now to build a 4th fire station on the western portion of this property, which will allow us to better meet the response time requirements in the northern end of the district. We are currently wrapping up the due diligence stage of this process. We have a status update meeting scheduled in the coming days, and we'll be able to provide you all with a more concrete update on the next steps and plans for that fire station next month. As far as our other stations are concerned, we plan to break ground on our new Station 28 on the mainland in Oakhurst in the coming months. This station will also serve as a permanent emergency operations center for hurricanes and other disasters. So many of you are, we are still working on storm restoration efforts at our headquarters, station number 27 in Indian Rocks Beach, but have fortunately been able to remain in that station. In Indian Shores, our crews just got to move back into Station 26 a couple weeks ago. They've been in a temporary location since the hurricanes. The capital purchase of our first transport-capable rescue unit was delivered last week. Once it's placed in service, it will be staffed episodically until a full deployment plan is put in place. If you have any questions for me at all, you can ask them of me, and we also encourage you guys to ask any questions, stop by the station, or meet our new fire chief.
Does anybody have any questions? How's the new chief? You like him?
Great. So,
Good.
Yes, very excited.
Awesome.
Very excited.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So now, Lauren, can I go to public comment?
Yes.
Okay. 3-minute time limit per speaker. Any member of the audience may come forward, give their name and address, and state any comment or concern that they may have regarding any matter over which the City Commission has control, excluding agenda items. All statements made to the City Commission shall be made to the City Commission as a whole, not directed to any individual City Commission member, and no personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks shall be permitted. No speaker shall be interrupted, and no debate shall occur between the speaker and the City Commission. Who would like to speak this evening? Hi, Kelly.
Good evening. Hi. My name is Kelly Sistrick. I live at 448 Harbor Drive South. And Tallahassee is in full swing now. And I was watching a bill today, Real Property and Land Use Development Bill, HB 943, and I didn't like it. And there are 5 land use and development bills that are currently in the House and Senate, and they require some of our attention. I foresee a possibility of someone from the city going to Tallahassee. I'm glad we don't have a vacation rental bill to deal with this year, but what we do have are some other bills that could impact us in ways that we never thought we would have to deal with. Indian Rocks Beach has an ordinance that requires a supermajority vote of the commissioners if there's going to be a proposed increase in density, intensity, or in building height. But what Tallahassee could possibly do to us is just subjugate us once again. And in some of these bills, there are some measures like that that are very onerous, that you could have high rises going up in areas that are, next door to multifamily or single-family residential. And our our codes might be subjugated to Tallahassee. So I hope all of the citizens will start paying attention to some of these bills. There are a couple good ones too, like Bernie Jacks, Seminole representative, has House Bill 401, and there is a Senate companion to that. Neither of those have been heard yet. There's 3 committee stops that they will hopefully go through, and there is a ray of sunshine there if we could get one of those to go through, but with the current posture of the legislature, I don't know if they would be willing to let those bills advance. So everybody stay tuned. HB 943 is the one that had its first hearing today. There's Senate Bill 184, Senate Bill 1118, and 1730, and House Bill 1209, all under development theme. And affordable housing is a priority of the legislature this year. And unfortunately, one of the ways that they want to achieve affordable housing is to allow developers to build more density and intensity. So there's got to be a balance, and it's up to us to make sure that we get that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Who else would like to speak?
Since we're on that subject, John Mansfield, 448 Harbor Drive South. If you watch it, it's pretty interesting. There were at least 30 city officials that said no to this bill. This bill is so far-reaching. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're talking about affordable housing. And they really wanted affordable housing. All they have to do is get rid of short-term rentals in residential areas. And then people will be able to rent houses 6 months, 12 months, 2 years at a much lower rate than we can now. The thing is, the only people that voted for this were developers, Chamber of Commerce, and so on. It's a very biased bill. Anna Maria used to have, the mayor of Anna Maria made it a point to have a website where you could simply, it would inform you and alert you about these bills when they come up. And you would just click on a button and they would have the names of the people it's sent to. It's just easy, 30 seconds, 60 seconds to do it. And I think we're going to be under siege. All the towns in Florida are going to be under siege from Tallahassee. And this is something we really ought to look into. It really wouldn't cost much. That mayor retires. I think the website's retired. It's easy to see what they did and move on that. The other thing is congratulations to our 2 new candidates. And on one other subject, I had a chance to walk around in this beautiful weather we've had through our neighborhoods. And I know the numbers of how many short-term rentals we have, but it was so disappointing. It's really more like scary. I was on Harbor Drive North, and there were 3 massive short-term rentals right next to each other, one in a row. And then there's another one just down the road a little bit, and another one down the street, and another one down there. I mean, I think we're getting close to the tipping point. Hopefully we aren't there yet. Or people will not want to live in residential in Indian Rocks Beach. I can't imagine a family wanting to move on to that section, or a retired person for that matter. So I really look forward to what this commission is going to do to take the initiative to make sure everything is enforced and look at Tallahassee and some type of satisfaction. Thank you so much and congratulations again.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Who else would like to speak?
Good evening all. My name is Neil Lieberman, 1214 Bay Pond. This is a matter of safety, which I'm sure we're all concerned about. Incidentally, I know that I ran for political office sometime. I know sometimes matters get caught up in bureaucracy. I'm talking about my representing more than 200 pickleball players at Cole Park. Has anyone here ever been to Cole Park among the people in front of me? Cole Park, okay? As you know, there's playgrounds. City Hall is right there. Hopefully they'll be opening soon. Lights. 2 lights have to be replaced. I was told that those lights, LED lights, will be replaced sometime in July. And I'm thinking, I'm not that mechanical. Give me a ladder. And we're talking about safety. There are children, younger, older, adults, who sometimes, I'm sure the police will agree with me, they congregate in the darkness. So may I suggest, ASAP, my wife is a journalist too. She knows all about this. And I think that you who represent us should make that happen. An LED light or two, maybe $8, a ladder, bingo, it happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, he asked me to do this for him. I just felt awkward doing it when I mentioned it. I didn't know where my friend went. Oh, here he is.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you. My name is Nanette Prevost. I live at 11212 Region Lane, Radwood, Florida. I've been a resident here since 1993. I'm also a surgical nurse, 38 years at Morton Plant Hospital. It was back in, during COVID, I started a nonprofit. I saw where we were going for mental health issues, and so I've been a nonprofit since then, 2021, and we are suicide prevention and drug overdose. My specialty is surgery, organ donation. I read toxicology reports, and I'm very good at reading lab values. So I'm here today because, you know, since 1993, I've witnessed a lot with overdoses and drownings here on our beaches and mental health. So we are a mobile mental health crisis unit of doctors, nurses, and lived experience. I lost my husband to suicide back in 2012 here. So I'm here because it's alarming a rate of suicides and drug overdoses. And I've also been a mental health crisis unit during our storms through everything down here for 16 weeks. I immediately registered my nonprofit with FEMA, so I knew the headquarters was over there, and I was doing a lot with them, working with housing for people down here. We are open water rescue team. I rescued one person off the beach down here, and when I came back to get the second one over the bridge, I was turned around because no one has any idea our qualifications and that we have an inflatable boats and rescue mission inside of our van. So when we were down here the 16 weeks, I was up and down delivering water. I went to Clearwater Beach, delivered 32 cases of water, and when they were yelling at me when I pulled my van out that they thought the structure was going to collapse. There's a lot of stories I could go on and on. We were a charging unit. We were a smoothie bar and a coffee bar down here going up and down our neighborhoods from Clearwater Beach down to Sunset Beach. I'm here, I guess, you know, I could go on and on. Our suicide rates right now is not about any mental health issues, it's about our citizens out here that have been homeless. People are taking their lives, and I teach a suicide bereavement support group free at the Largo Library, and I'm getting calls so much in this group. And we just lost 4 firefighters within 10 days. From in here, Hillsborough, Miami, these are people directly that I know that are calling me, and these are people that I know. I work with the firemen in surgery still. I'm still at Morton Plant 3 days a week in trauma. So down here, what I would like to offer you as a nonprofit, because nonprofits are your best friend. We can go out and get the money very quickly when we see structures, infrastructures, you know, putting coordinated efforts of emergency management together. Right now, like we know that the drownings out here, for instance, there's a lot of deaths happening here on our beaches, and the response times with spring breakers and everyone down here, the reality of getting to a hospital is, you know, I can tell you it's not very good. I watched a water rescue down here, and I was so upset I went to the sheriff's office about it, and so this is why I actually put a water rescue now unit together.
Sorry, your 3 minutes is up.
Yeah.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, so anyways, I did make copies, and so if you guys can see a little bit, what I want to bring is a water rescue unit and a mental health unit to your beach for free. And so,
Thanks for that.
yeah, can I leave some copies?
You can bring it to me, and I'll make sure that I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else would like to speak this evening?
Tiny myself.
Hey, Diane.
I missed the big timer. Hi, I'm Diane Daniel, 309 Clinton Avenue. First of all, congrats to John and Hillary. I'm excited to see how the new commission works, and I also realized that tomorrow was half a year since Helene. So I just want to say thanks to everyone for all we have been through. I want to talk about recycling. So I was here all day Saturday for Greenfest. I was running the Learning Lab where we had 4 different presentations. One of them was on recycling. I don't know how many of you have seen this guide. I believe the city gives it out still. I'm not sure because of the new, I know they had it in the old location. And I know there was talk a couple years ago about whether we would keep the recycling or not, and we elected to keep it. I wish Dean was here, but what I've learned about recycling, so this guide is from Pinellas County. They actually don't do their own recycling. We use Waste Connections, Indian Rocks Beach, and every resident pays for that. This guide they do is like the lowest common denominator. So everything that can be recycled here can be recycled all over the county, but each municipality, and there are 24 of them, has their own different setup because the county itself does not recycle. So we use Waste Connections, and what I wanted to find out is, okay, so how is Waste Connections different? I looked on our website, we had worked on that together, I couldn't find anything on recycling. It used to be there, and I called Waste Connections, customer service could not tell me what could be recycled. There is some information on the website that you basically have to do all these drop downs, things that average person is not going to do. So what I said to Waste Connections is, could we have a PDF to hand out, to put on our website? Oh, they have to get with corporate legal and wherever. It was just one of those crazy conversations. So what I want to do, because I'm pretty sure that Waste Connections takes a lot more than is in this guide, is to have the city pursue this, and I am happy to help, I'm happy to be on the committee, I'm happy to do the legwork, so that we can officially find out what we can recycle, then also perhaps move forward as things normalize to get some way to do more education and more finding out what happens when the recycling is contaminated, when you, because I still see so many bins that have plastic sticking out of them, and plastic bags are not recyclable. Even if they're filled with recyclables, those bags go straight in the landfill. So I just want us to get it together on recycling. If we're going to pay for it, let's do it right. And if we feel like we can't do it, let's just stop doing it. And I'm happy to help. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Hi.
Hey. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations, John and Hillary. My name is Kelly Watt, 431 Harbor Drive South. I don't know if you had a chance, I sent an email to the commission on Monday, don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I just wanted to briefly address it. So I sent an email. What I did is I looked at the state DPR file and selected 8 properties operating within the city, and just looked at them, selected those randomly, and just looked at how they were in terms of their status for licenses with the state, license with the city with the BTR, and fire inspections. And just on that random sample, it looked like we had multiple code violations going back from the inception of when those properties started based on the state file. And so what I did is just for kicks, took $250 a day, which the city has a code, section 1.14, that allows for up to $500 a day. So I took $250 and multiplied that out for those properties and got a huge number of $5 million in fines. Now, I'm not suggesting that the city should actually seek $5 million in fines, or that the city would actually get $5 million in fines. It was just kind of an example to see that there's some opportunity out there for the city. I do think that the city should be looking at this kind of thing for non-compliance, and properties, either these 8 or the other ones, should be brought before the special magistrate to be brought into compliance, because that's what we want at the end of the day. The bigger issue really is for the properties that don't have BTR licenses, we're missing out on that revenue. The city is, and that's an annual fee of $300 per property. So for these properties, it's about $6,000 over multiple years. And we need that revenue to be able to pay for all the enforcement for the STRs. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that as an example. No one's going to give us $5 million, but just as something we could be doing to maybe, I'm not really sure what the city processes are, but maybe we could kind of tighten that up and make sure we're following up on initial licensing and then appropriate documentation of appropriate fire state for renewals as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Don?
I'll house, 2104 Beach Trail. So I'm old. I'm not the oldest one in this room, but I'm pretty old. I'm old enough to have had chicken pox, mumps, and the measles when I was young. And I also am old enough to have gone to a segregated school. So experienced segregation, and I remember the first day that 2 Negroes came into my junior high school. The community went ballistic. They were going down to school board meetings, screaming and hollering, "You have to get the Negroes out of here. Listen to your constituency. Listen to your constituency. You have to end this." Well, they couldn't end it because there were rules that it was going to happen. We had segregation in our city here. We segregated the short-term rentals on the west side of Gulf Boulevard. They went on the east side. We segregated. It was totally legal. A previous city commission did a bonehead move that opened up the door for short-term rentals. In order to try and combat that, a previous city commission adopted an ordinance. Some of us got up, I was one of them, they got up and said, if you adopt this ordinance, the city's going to get sued. Adopted it, the city got sued. Short-term rentals started suing the city. Facebook went ballistic, going, how in the hell can these people that say they love the city sue the city and do that? Who would do that? I can tell you who would do that. The Hometown Hotels people. They are now suing the city. This city commission is it's not a good situation. You're going to lose. You're in the middle on 2 sides. You're going to lose. It's like you've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 of different suits and a 7 and a poker hand, and now y'all are going all in. You're going to lose. There's no way you can win. The only thing that can happen here is we don't know to whom you're going to lose, how much you're going to lose, when you're going to lose, but you're going to lose. The only way to get out of this losing situation is real simple. Get rid of this ordinance. No ordinance, no lawsuits. Get rid of it, and then tie our fortunes to Pinellas County. Pinellas County is going through this thing, and they're going to adopt some guidelines. And they're a lot stronger than our little city is, because we're in this by ourselves. 17 communities in the Big C. We're the only city that went the way we went. The others were smart enough not to do it. So just drop the ordinance, get rid of it, get rid of all the lawsuits, and hitch our wagon to Pinellas County's guidance. Then we've got a bigger, I know, I heard you. We got more strength than what we have now. We're by ourselves, we're going to lose. You know, we had a city commission that made something that I thought was pretty stupid a long time ago. Y'all could be something even more stupid, and y'all might end up being the last city commission. Get rid of this freaking ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Don. Who else would like to speak?
Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Copeland, 447 20th Avenue. Thank you, everybody, for everything. I always thank you. Family doesn't agree. I need to clarify something I wasn't going to say. Mr. House is not quite informed. Maybe the city's not quite informed. If you look at the H&H Hotel complaint, which I don't expect you to have read, the suit is for not following the rules you have, not changing the rules you have. And I think that there needs to be a shift in the dynamics of how the board understands their role. When I was young, I had the opportunity to attend the U.S. Air Force Academy. I learned a lot of things. I'm only going to talk about one of those, and that's what's the definition of a leader. It's not a manager. A leader is different than a manager. The leader's job is to make the right decision. The manager's job is to do things right. It's your job, thank you for taking it, along with that Excedrin bottle that it brings you, it's your job to make sure things are done right. You're the leaders of the city. You can't make sure things are done right, if you don't have good, clear information. And that should be the information that you all realize you need to have provided to you, that you asked for. I sent an email to the commission that you all saw. It's a spreadsheet. It's factual. It's got all the exhibits. The evidence is there. It's no different than Kelly's, other than it's one. It's just the facts. Like them or not. They're not made up. But if you are not provided with this kind of quantitative, specific analysis of the problem of the short-term rentals, how can you make the right decision? So one thing I suggest is you have the right to instruct the city management staff to provide you with that analytical report of every short-term rental that exists, so you know the deal. The fact is, we're doing a lot of work, a few of us, a lot of us, but in terms of the details, we're trying to put it together for you. Fact is, you have over 1,000 short-term rentals operating illegally. Didn't make up the facts, just delivered the news. I'm the mailman. I'm sorry the credit card bill's too high. That's just the news. So once again, the message I'm trying to get across is, as a leader, you can only make the right decision with the information you have. And you need to now direct what information you know you need so that you can make those decisions. And I appreciate everything everybody does. It's not easy for people that are working for the city.
Thanks, Bob. Who else would like to speak this evening?
I'll wait till everyone else wants to speak, because I spoke before. Anybody else? Okay?
Sir, you can't speak again. You used up your 3 minutes.
I just have a quick question. A quick question. I've traveled quite a bit to be here.
I can give him my time.
I've gone to a meeting with the former mayor of Indian Rocks Beach. I made comments, so did many other people. I didn't hear one response from any of you. Are these going, is this meeting, I know thousands of people who wanted to be here, will this be shown on some video in their homes? Any comments?
Yeah.
Oh, they can't comment. This is strange. I did run a political office. I will sit and observe.
We can tell you later.
Who else would like to make a public comment?
Jerry Newton, 438 Harbor Drive North. I wasn't going to comment tonight because this is a repeat of an email that I sent to the commission, but I think it's worth the public knowing about it. I wish there were more people here, but at least it goes on record. There are two big restraints, and I'm going to call it excuses, that we've been given why our short-term rental regulations have not been enforced. And one of them has to do with the cost of enforcement, because we would have to hire code inspectors, we would have to make inspections happen, make administrative costs and so forth. You might recall that the short-term rental industry is supposed to be self-supportive. If we design our regulations correctly, and I think we did a pretty good job on them, the industry, as in the short-term rental owners, will be supporting the financial side of the inspections. They'll be paying for those. They'll be paying for registrations. And again, if we designed it correctly, it should be, that part should be self-supporting. If we need to hire more code enforcement, if we need to hire people to do administrative tasks, that's all paid for by those regulations and those fees. The problem is we're not enforcing any of that, so we're not getting those fees. So we can't afford the people to, it's just a vicious circle. It makes no sense. The other thing about hurricanes, because of the hurricanes, we can't possibly be paying attention to this issue now. The ordinance, in 2018 there were ordinances passed. In 2023, May, there was the existing ordinance passed. Hurricanes were 16 months after that. What happened during those 16 months? Now, granted, hurricane caused a lot of turmoil everywhere in the beach communities. But that's no excuse for where we are today. And let me just make one final comment based on some things that were said earlier. If I'm not mistaken, the city invested in software that has this designed to manage the short-term rental industry in our city a year ago. Have we seen any sign of that? Where is it? Has it been installed? How many companies invest in software and let it lay on the shelf without using it? I think that's what we've done here. I'm speculating, I don't know facts. I'm just going by what it appears. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Who else would like to make a comment? Are there no other comments this evening?
Thank you. I'd like to move on to the reports of the city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Jay Digny on behalf of Randy Moore this evening. Thank you for having me and for your hospitality. I have two things for you this evening. The first is to circle back to our first public speaker tonight, who very articulately made you aware that there are a number of bills before the Florida legislature this session that may have an impact on local government. HB 943 is of great concern to us in local government space. There's sovereign immunity caps, there's local amendments, permitting overhauls. I won't bore you with all the details. You're getting memos from my office. I think that one is forthcoming to you shortly if you haven't received it already. But I do encourage you all to pay close attention to those and to participate in that process to the greatest degree that your other commitments will allow. Secondly, given all the happy talk of lawsuits, Mr. Moore has asked me to relate to you that, obviously we're aware that the settlement proposal made by the AP6 plaintiff was rejected. There is a separate lawsuit filed by IRB Connect, handled by a different law firm. That law firm has indicated to Mr. Moore that they remain willing to dismiss their lawsuit if the city passes the revised ordinance that was tabled on second reading on February 11th of 2025, or recognizing that the commission was composed differently at that time. The commission tabled the ordinance so there could be another work session. So my inquiry for you tonight is whether you desire to schedule a work session and to continue efforts on that revised ordinance in service of settling that AP6 lawsuit. So if there is that desire, I suggest you bring it to our city manager to get that scheduled. You're under no obligation to do that, but the inquiry has been made and I am passing it on to you in furtherance of the inquiry. Okay. Is there any guidance that you wish to give to the city manager this evening? Again, it doesn't obligate you to pass anything, it doesn't obligate you to do anything. What they're asking for is to hold a workshop to discuss the ordinance and to see if you desire to advance it through the adoption process.
Does anybody want to consider having another work session on the mediation that we haven't discussed in the February meeting? I think you brought it up, John, that you wanted an opportunity for another work session.
Yeah, I would like an opportunity for another work session.
You would like that?
Yes.
Can I ask you to use your microphones, please?
Yes, I'd like to have a workshop pertaining to that lawsuit.
Okay.
And that work, just for clarity's sake, that workshop would be relative to the revised ordinance. I understand that it would tangentially impact the lawsuit, but the record to be clear that we're discussing a workshop to discuss the revised ordinance.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor, what's your thoughts on that?
I think we discussed it a lot.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily in favor of another work session to rehash what we've already done.
Jude?
I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun, but I can pass.
And Hillary, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, if it's just to discuss the ordinance that was proposed the last time, then I would say no, because that's clearly not going to be successful.
Okay. I'm a no as well.
Thank you very much for your time. I have nothing further to report during this part of the meeting, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay. And now we're going to move on to the report of the city manager.
I have several items to cover, and then at the end, I'll ask Dan to go over a financial report related to the impact of the storm on the city. First item is Gulf Boulevard Underground Phase 2. We've been working on that for a while. It took delayed a few months because of the hurricane. The project area is from 5th to just north of 16th. Our portion of the project, which is our engineering contracting firm installing the conduit, should be finished by June of this year. There is no definitive timeline from Duke at the current time to pull the lines and remove the poles. If the public probably has seen, Duke is doing a lot of what they refer to as storm hardening in the area that were mandated by the state to upgrade their lines throughout the state of Florida. As you ride around Pinellas County, you'll see a lot of replacing poles. So we'll have our part finished by the end of June, and then we'll wait on Duke to come in and run the lines and take down the existing infrastructure. City Hall project is finally underway. The sheetrock has been hung in the building. Walked through there today. They're mudding the sheetrock. We hope to be in there at June, July is our best hope. I want to remind the public that on our website there's a link called Local Voices United. It's the Florida League of Cities. We placed that link on the website last year. You can go on and register for that website. They will send you information in a real timely manner on pending legislation in Tallahassee. It's a good way for you to be involved. They also provide sample letters that you can print out and sign and email a House member or Senate member about your opinion towards pending legislation, and encourage the public to use that. The next item is Senator DeCiglia met with Mayor Hausberg and I several months ago, right after the hurricane. It was interesting in trying to provide us with some assistance, and as a result of that, we've applied for a state appropriation to purchase an aqua fence. You probably heard of this. Tampa General in Tampa has purchased one. They used it before the last couple of hurricanes. The city of St. Petersburg has purchased a couple of those to use around their facilities. We requested the funding through Senator DeCiglia and House Member Fairfield. The total project cost is $635,000. It's a 70-25 split. The state amount would be $476, and the city portion will be $158. But if approved, would come out of our capital improvement plan. These type products are approved by FEMA in the state of Florida and seem to be work pretty well. We would use that aqua fence to surround City Hall to prevent water intrusion that we experienced during the last hurricane. The next topic is TextMyGov proposal. TextMyGov is a communications tool that provides two-way communication with the public on the smartphone. The smart texting feature allows the public to send the questions, receive responses. It's also linked to the city's website. You can report issues, upload photos, Text.gov is used by many local governments in Florida, several in our area. The system allows the city to text those that have voluntarily signed up to receive city alerts, news, and events. The unique thing about Text.gov, it allows, when you sign up, it allows you to limit what you want to receive text messages about. So if you're only interested in storm-related incidents, you're not interested in events or other things going on, you can tell us what you'd like to receive messages, but it's two-way communication. We have money in the central services budget to do this, so I'm going to proceed with getting this set up. It provides the city with up to 50,000 text messages per year, and obviously the benefit to storms is when people evacuate, most folks, like we all do, carry around the phone, and you have that with you, and we can tell you what's going on, when the bridge is going to open, when it's going to close, those type of things. So we'll be putting out more information about Text.gov here in the next few days. Back in May of 2024, the commission had a couple of work sessions concerning mixed-use projects along Gulf Boulevard. The commission instructed and asked for Pinellas to look at our ordinances and bring back their findings. If it's okay with the commission, Fort Pinellas will appear at the April IRB City Commission meeting to make a presentation that the commission can review and consider if it wishes to make any changes to the IRB land development code to further enhance mixed useness entirely up to the commission. So Fort Pinellas will make that presentation in April. Magistrate hearings, we've scheduled magistrate hearings twice a month, at least April, May, and June, to schedule cases before the magistrate. The overwhelming majority or vacation rentals that are operating illegally. One noise violation issue with a local business, and some garbage trash violations. And we'll consider continuing the every 2 week schedule after we run this, after we use this process during April, May, and June. Indian Rocks Beach short-term rental hotline back in July of last year. Somebody asked about the software that's Granicus. Part of the contract we have with Granicus is they will provide the city with a 24-hour hotline where people can report issues related to vacation rentals. The caller will be provided with an easy step-by-step instruction, provides return with text messages or update the complainant concerning the alleged issue. Staff that works for me also will receive a report daily on calls to that number. It provides citizens a way to report concerns or issues with vacation rentals, and it's also a tracking mechanism that we can use. We expect to put out the phone number for this short-term rental hotline a week from Friday, so that'll be out in the public. Want to cover the beach easement process, the latest efforts by Pinellas County to place beach on our beaches, RV beaches. Back in December of 2024, Pinellas County sent a letter to all the property owners on the beach asking for individuals to sign easements. On December 18th, we issued a press release with that same information. On February the 4th, we issued another press release reminding everyone about the need for beach nourishment easements. On February the 4th, we posted a notification that every beach access in Indian Rocks Beach, reminding the people about the county's efforts for easements. On the same date, we mailed letters to approximately 84 property owners that had not signed easements, providing them with the basic information and a link to the county's website if they wanted to sign an easement. On that same date, we created a section on the website informing the residents about the approaching deadline. Also had links to the easement documents. On February the 19th, we issued a press release again to public about the easement request, and also about a signing event that was held out at Indian Shores on 2 different occasions. On February the 20th and 21st, Michelle Hargett, who's sitting in the back of the room, went to Indian Shores and was there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with other city representatives, and they made themselves available to notarize the easements. Had moderate success with that. On February the 27th, Michelle went back to Indian Shores from 2 to 6 for the same easement signing event. On February the 27th, IRB team members went door to door and left door hangers on the properties that had structures on them for the location for the people that had not signed an easement. March the 21st, last Friday, we sent mail letters to 64 property owners who had not signed for easements. Letters included the easement packet that was mailed to the IRB residents, the IRB beachfront residents back in December by the county. So I just wanted to just some questions about the beach easement. Based on the lack of signatures at the current time, unless 4 people sign beach easements, IRB will not get signed. In May, the May IRB City Commission meeting, I want to place an item on the agenda to discuss beach parking, particularly paid beach parking. I want to recognize Dean Sharman. Dean was awarded by the Alabama Public Works Association, Florida West Coast Chapter, the Chairperson of the Year award. Dean's been the president of that organization numerous times. It was my pleasure to attend the luncheon and recognize Dean. Other recognitions, we unveiled our 6th public art installation sponsored by IRB Home. I also want to acknowledge the passing of Commissioner Cherry Hamilton Woolen, who served the community for decades in various roles. Also want to recognize Mary Beth Dunn, who served as the president of IRB Home and who was instrumental in working with the city on a lot of projects. I want to recognize the continued storm recovery effort by the people that I work with at City Hall. Mike and Frank, who are our 2 code folks, are still spending time throughout the day helping people navigate the permitting process. To address a couple of questions that came up tonight, about a month ago, a PO has been issued to Musco Lighting to replace the lights on the tennis courts at Cole Park. That was in the budget. It was temporarily placed on hold due to the impact of the hurricane. They ordered the equipment, and sir, if you'll give me your contact information, I'll let you know when they're scheduled to come in. And as far as the recording of the meetings, they're always loaded on the website. They're usually 2 or 3 weeks after the meetings. And one other vacation rental thing I'll address is that, as somebody indicated earlier, with the various lawsuits that we're dealing with, another thing that was done yesterday and today, over 200 letters, certified letters went to previously permitted or issued licensed vacation rental operators that allegedly are not in compliance with the fire code requirements, and in that correspondence are given a window of time to correct that. And that's an agreement that we had, that format is an agreement that we have with the fire department in the time frame they need to make to do those inspections. And I'll turn the mic over to Diana, who's going to talk about financial impact of the storm.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll try to be brief, but I've got a PowerPoint here to go over the financial impacts to the city of both the hurricanes Helene and Milton back in September. Let's take a quick look at the agenda for this. We'll start with a review of unassigned or available funds or reserves for the city. Next, a review of the impacts and the costs associated with the 2 hurricanes. then an overview of the insurance recovery efforts to date, and then an overview of the FEMA reimbursement recovery to date from the storm. And then a brief look at the annual budget appropriation process, and then of course, budget adjustment process that comes along with unforeseen costs associated with the storm. Give a quick summary, and then at the end there'll be an opportunity for any discussion or questions. So, real quickly, reserves. The city, through policy and management's got a long history of trying to maintain and build up reserves. I'm sorry, exactly for situations like we experienced back in September, and probably a little hard to read, but this is a 14-year history where we go from about 1.9 million down to the current yellow, the most recent audit financial statements that'll be out. We worked our way up to about a $6.2 million reserve fund in the general fund. And to give that a little perspective, the current fiscal year 2025 operating budget approved by the commission is $4.8 million. So we had about 111% worth of reserves built up. Flipping over, let's look at the impacts. Myself and Dean have gone in front and briefly talked to the commission about this, going back to maybe as early as October. There's a little more clarity, but we had about ironically or coincidentally, the cost of the storm to the city is real close to about what we just talked about on the previous slide, or $6.2 million. And it's made up of two main components. The debris removal cost and the damages the city experienced throughout the city. Specifically on debris, we had in the neighborhood of 38,000 yards of debris, mostly construction from the flood in Helene, but of course we also had vegetative from the second storm Milton. And in total, there's about $3.1 million worth of total cost associated with contractual removal of that debris. And then moving over to the other half of the pie, if you will, the city, not unlike homeowners and residents, experienced flooding damage to City Hall, the Public Works building. We had extensive damage to our dune walkover system at our multiple beach accesses, and then of course we lost contents within the buildings. And then the other large area for damages would be property in the open at our parks and other areas, including fences, benches, lighting, playground equipment, and landscaping. So flipping over to update a little bit on the insurance recovery effort, the city's a longtime participant in a group called the Public Risk Management. It's a group of about 65 other cities and counties throughout Florida. It's a good position for the city to be in from a risk management standpoint. It allows us, obviously, larger buying opportunity and pricing for the insurance, and it also spreads out the cost across much more participants. So it's a good insurance policy. It's certainly being tested this time. But to date, we've covered about $1.75 million of insurance money back, coinciding with the expenses that we've had. And I think, we'll be good on the insurance as we work through the balance of that $3.1 million, or about $1.3 million to go. So again, 1.75 already collected for the efforts expended, working with our insurance company, and we project to be successful in recovering as we continue to rebuild the city throughout the rest of this fiscal year. The next area, or the other half of the pie, was it's the FEMA claim, and we've had FEMA claims in the past for debris. The largest we've had was really only in the $125,000 range that I could find going back. So $3.1 million, obviously much larger. We've started that process immediately with FEMA, and while we have not received any actual money from FEMA, we made what's called an expedited request for $1 million. Good portion of our total estimated loss or cost to remove the debris, and that's been approved by the federal government and the State Department of Emergency Management, and we feel comfortable that within the next 30 days we should get that $1 million. So, reading kind of across the bottom, we had $3.1 million worth of cost. We feel comfortable that we're going to get $1 million fairly shortly, leaving about $2.1 million of recovery dollars on the debris removal from FEMA. And historically, that process can go between 12, 18, even 24 months, and it's pretty arduous, very detailed to get those dollars, but we're going to work through that, and hopefully we'll be reporting down the road to the commission that we recovered that balance, or that $2 million, if you will, and we'll be whole on that. So, kind of a quick summary. We had $6.2 million in reserves. Coincidentally, we got about a $6.2 million estimated unbudgeted cost, half from debris, half from damages. We've got $1.75 million of hard cash put back into the bank account from our insurance reimbursement. We're soon to expect $1 million of reimbursement from FEMA for a total of $2.75 of reimbursement. And that'll leave us $1.35 to get from insurance and $2.1. So we'll be going after about $3.4 million in balance as we work through the rest of the recovery process. All that kind of leads up to the discussion about budget and appropriations and budget adjustments for unforeseen expenditures. Real quickly, the budget process begins in the spring, where the city manager proposes a budget. Our three main funds, if you will, are the general fund, the solid waste fund, and then the capital projects funds. This $6.2 million obviously impacted the general fund and the solid waste fund. In the summer, the commission workshops the manager's proposed budget, and that leads up to September, where there's 2 ultimate readings and an appropriation and adoption. And like I mentioned earlier, the current year budget has a $4.8 million appropriation for the general fund and a $1.8 million appropriation for the solid waste fund. So what are the rules and what's the administrative process when you exceed the appropriation from the commission? Well, there's two different ways, and the first one I've got up here that's not in yellow we're not going to talk about because we fall underneath the second one, which is a budget amendments which increases expenditures or the spending level of a fund as requested by the city manager and approved by the city commission. The timing of that, it's required to be done during the course of the actual budget year or within 60 days of the completion. There's a little bit of value and benefit to letting knowing the more specific amounts, and that's why, you typically will wait till the end of the year. So we project we'll come back, before the end of the year, or certainly by October and November, to request budget adjustments to the current fiscal year 2025 year for the storm-related impacts. The other 2 items on here, just quickly to mention, are, there's always the potential for budget adjustments. We've been lucky as a city, we haven't had to do those in quite a while. We've got potential litigation costs, if they exceed appropriations, that may be an item that comes before the commission at the same time. And then also, I believe at the same time, the manager will bring up to the commission a discussion about not doing the current year approved transfer from the general fund reserves to the capital projects for capital projects funding. That was proposed last spring, approved by the commission ultimately for the current year, but before the storm. So better times, fatter reserve, pre-hurricane, I think that'll be discussed as well. So anyways, a real quick summary, $6.2 million in impact, $6.2 million to cover the impact, thank goodness. Half was from solid waste and debris removal, half is from damages and insurance recovery. We've gotten about $2.1 1.7 actually received, 1 million obligated by FEMA, leaving us about $3.4 million to collect. And we will have to adjust both the general fund and the solid waste fund budget to address all these expenditures at some point throughout the rest of the year or by October and November at the latest. And I hope that kind of put a little more clarity on what we've talked about, kind of at a larger overview, and I certainly would be glad to attempt to answer any questions or concerns you might have.
So Dan, we're going to proceed with the budget as usual this year.
Yes, we'll proceed later in the budget year. We have a better, more complete financial information. We'll bring back a budget adjustment for the commission to consider.
Okay. And I did have a conversation with Charlie Justice when he was on the Pinellas County Commission. And he said at one time FEMA owed Pinellas County $20 million in hurricane repair and debris pickup. And he said they did get back every dollar.
The almost 12 years I've been here in the various storms, granted smaller, working particularly with Dean and Dan, we've been successful. The only twist in our current situation is what's going on at the federal level with FEMA. And most of the people that we deal with are consultants. They're not FEMA employees. Part of the frustration of dealing with FEMA is we'll provide documents and information to one group of contract FEMA folks, and then 3 months later it's a different group of FEMA people, and we have to start all over. So the only caution I would give the commission is the current situation that we find ourselves in at the federal level with FEMA may change what normally would go on.
Happened before, yeah. And then on the magistrate, are those going to be held here?
No, they're going to be held at the Holiday Inn.
At the Holiday Inn?
Yeah.
Okay. And then on the beach renourishment, of the letters you sent out, did we get any of the 62 that were interested in signing now?
Well, we just sent them out Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm not, Michelle, have you seen, she's sitting back in the room?
We've had a couple people go away off.
But they just went out Friday, so let's do a little.
I mean, do we have a message like, what happens if we don't get sent?
Yeah, in the letter that our cover letter
Yeah.
that we put with all the county documents,
Right.
it clearly says in there that this is according to the county, this is a county project, that unless we get the necessary signatures to fill in gaps, this is the last, they're the last scheduled beach renourishment for 6 years, which is 6 hurricane seasons.
Wow.
And we put that in bold type on the top sheet of all the letters that went out on Friday.
Yeah, well, and if we don't get sand done, the house may be right, we don't need a ordinance if we don't have sand, we don't have visitors. That's a problem. Does anybody else have any questions of Dan or? Okay.
Sorry, I do. I just had a question about the beach renourishment and the easement. The packet that we have still shows a perpetual easement. I thought that had been modified, and I thought that was one of the sticking factors for those still holding out.
It's at the federal level and it was never changed.
Okay. I must have mistakenly thought that there had been a change in the WRDA and that they no longer required the perpetual, but I don't know if that's flowed all the way through federal to state to county. So I don't know what we could do to research that and if that would help, because I believe that is the sticking point for the majority of the folks that haven't signed yet.
Right, it is.
All property owners received a letter in December from the county. The city sent out 2 different letters to the first group, which is about, I think about 84 property owners that had not signed. Anybody that owned property that had not signed an easement. And then we sent out another letter on Friday to, I think we're down to about 62. Well, Michelle's in the back, she'll be helping you fill out the easement.
Or you can contact me. Would anybody like to have their commission report? Who wants to go first?
There you go.
Question for Dan Carpenter. The capital improvement fund what was the status of that?
There hasn't been a direct impact to the capital improvement fund. Don't get me wrong, we could account for it in capital improvement, but we're accounting for it in the general fund. So capital improvement project, for what was allocated and appropriated this year, is still on track to do what we plan to do. Okay, I'm sorry. Other than the 600,000 the manager put on hold.
Yeah, when the storm hit, sent an email to the commission. Obviously have the email in front of me. I think it was about $600,000 worth of projects that we put on hold for cash flow reasons.
It was like 4.5 million in that fund before.
No, there was a large amount of the capital projects, but you gotta be careful, because you gotta look deeper into the financials and look at unearned revenue, because we've been sitting on the American Rescue Plan funds, which are earmarked only for stormwater projects, which are being finished up on Harbor Drive. So if you truly flash to the balance sheet, I believe the capital projects fund, ending fund balance for the last fiscal year audited was, sorry, bear with me, was $1.9 million. And again, you got to keep in mind, capital projects is very restrictive in terms of what you can utilize it for. It's, brick and mortar for the most part for our city. Stormwater, street repaving, those kind of items. So there's no question, when we get to budget adjustments, the city commission policy setters could, look at, or the manager can certainly propose looking at using some of that potentially for rebuilding of items like City Hall. But, that would be a discussion they would have at the time.
Any other questions?
Are we allowed to ask, I just was asking, following up on your question, please, for the magistrate hearings, will that be on the city calendar for us to see?
Yes, we will post it like we would normally post a city commission a few days out.
And then let's move on to the report of the city commission. Okay.
First off, it's so nice to see things like Winterfest and Greenfest going on. The Mix and Mingles, we've had several since we last reported out Gilby C's antidote with the Jonos. And of course, it's nice to see the boardwalk back open and the welcome of Bruce, our latest statue. To kind of piggyback on some that had talked about bills that we want to take a special interest in, there are two. One is one that I want us to make sure that we support heartily. It's got a heck of a ways to go and probably isn't going to make it out of the committee, but House Bill 401, that's the one that is put it easily, zoning type of issues, that is very advantageous. The other one is we don't want to support, we would like to oppose, is House Bill 301, which unfortunately the Senate bill that is part of it is 1570. That could increase the liability that tort claims could have. That could be very detrimental to cities. So if we need to focus on two, those would be the two that I would say that we could really do a campaign for. So, and luckily, Florida League of Cities, I get texts every day on what's going on, so it's really good to be able to follow this. Thank you.
John, do you have a report this month?
I would like to welcome Hillary King to our commission.
Thank you.
I don't have anything else to report.
Thank you. And Jude, do you have anything to?
I know. I was just going to mention Terry's passing. We're call attention to that. She died on February 6th. Some of you, I'm sure, knew her. She was a friend of mine, so yeah, she cared very much about the city. So I will miss her.
Thank you, Jude. And Hillary, do you have anything to report this evening?
Sure, so I will try to keep to my 3 minutes. The last 2 weeks have been a little bit busy because I did get to meet with Randy Mora, who advised me of all things Sunshine Law and Code of Ethics, and now I'm afraid to talk to any of y'all. So just if I seem standoffish, it's because he scared me. The second one, or a couple of topics, some discussions with Mr. Mims, and we did get to go through a lot of things as he's trying to get me up to speed quickly. Two things I did want to bring up that were, one of some urgency and one that just evoked a lot of emotion, at least during the election cycle. The first one being building permits for our displaced residents and potentially our business owners as well. It is surprising how many people still do not have permits, and not only that, even more surprising, a not insignificant number of people who still believe they have to wait for their substantial damage letter, even though we published that out on our website. So my husband and I did our permit back in December. I'd say it took us about 35 to 40 hours to complete it, and we are not novices. So there is a large number of our community that is perhaps not quite as equipped as we might be to get that done, and so I understand it's overwhelming. Once we got through our pre-approval from the city, it was maybe 30 minutes to get the actual permit from the county, so a pretty easy process once you do all the paperwork. So I did speak with Greg about perhaps hosting some additional times and dates where our city staff experts and perhaps our civil servant who's been supporting us in that way as well could set aside the time and focus on helping some of our residents complete their applications. And if we have any citizens that would like to volunteer to help as well, I think that would be brilliant. I, for one, would be happy to do it. It was a non-trivial task, I'll just say. So that was one item. The second item is, oh my goodness, the pickleball court reservation system. I could not believe how much emotion that evoked from everybody. I know it's not urgent, but I do see it is a problem. I mean, especially at Cole Park. Particularly there, I've seen it myself. I hear from city workers and some of our contractors and residents how unmanageable, unruly, and even rude that the participants can be. So I think we can all agree that would be a good thing to do. I think, however, the problem is not implementing, it's how do we maintain it, how do we monitor, and then how do we enforce it, because it is an open park. It's not like people are coming in and checking in, and we can make sure that they get off the court at a certain time. So I don't know exactly how this would work, but perhaps a workshop might be in order, and this is a great opportunity for citizen input on how we could actually make a reservation management system effective. So those were my items for my first meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. I wanted to say what a great job the Rotary did on Rotary Runs the Beach. That was such a fun event, and it was well attended. We had a great time. I won not one, but 2 raffle prizes. So I felt so bad I gave one away to somebody that didn't win. But it was really a great event. We enjoyed ourselves. I think they did a great job with getting funds into the Rotary. And the Rotary's also very interested. They collected funds for the hurricane, and they're looking for places to donate that. We're going to have the Easter egg hunt on April 12th, so if you've got children aged 0 to 12, bring them out to fight for Easter eggs in Cole Park. It'll be a fun event. And then on April 26th, we have the Taste of IRB, and that will be in Chickasee Park. And that's all I have to report for this evening. Lauren, do we have any additions or deletions?
No, we do not.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. Jay, would you read, please?
Surprised me here a little bit, but sure. Consent agenda consists of resolution number 2025-01, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Indian Rocks Beach accepting the official results of the March 11, 2025 Indian Rocks Beach General Municipal Election for 2 City Commission seats, providing for an effective date. 5B, approval of December 11, 2024 attorney-client session meeting minutes. C, approval of February 11, 2025 regular city commission meeting minutes. D, approval of minutes from and confirmation of action taken during February 27, 2025 special city commission meeting. 5E, setting the dates for the city commission budget work sessions and public hearings for fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget and capital improvements budget.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion carries. So you want to roll call it? Okay.
Commissioner Bigelow?
Present. Oh, yes. I approve.
Commissioner Bond? Commissioner King? Approved. Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson? Approved. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg? Yes. Thank you. Now we'll move on to the public hearings. Jay, would you take over, please?
Thank you.
You're the one that takes over on this? I'm going to read this one. Okay. Public hearing, 82 case, 24/2025. Quasi judicial proceeding for 2699 Gulf Boulevard, Turkish Flame Mediterranean LLC. Mr. Borhan Kalskan has requested a 2-cup alcohol beverage designation application, which is beer, wine, liquor, by drink or in sealed containers for consumption, on or off premises were sold. For the establishment, Turkish Flame Mediterranean LLC, located at 2699 Gulf Boulevard. Turkish Flame is located within the business zoning district. The surrounding zoning is business to the north and south, RM2 medium density multifamily zoning district to the east, and commercial tours on the west side of Gulf Boulevard. Turkish Flame is located on the northeast corner of Gulf Boulevard and 27th. The planning consultant and Pinellas County Sheriff's Office has signed off on the application. A public notice was mailed and legal notice published, and the city received 4 letters of support. Can ask Mr. Borhan if he wants to speak? Yes, would you like to come up and speak? Hi, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Borhan, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, and do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the entire truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
My name is Bora. I am the owner and executive chef at Turkish Flame restaurant. It's a new restaurant in Indian Rocks Beach. I've been cooking since 1999. I've been in hospitality industry, restaurant business and hotels. So I finally opened my Turkish Mediterranean restaurant in Indian Rocks Beach. I am very happy to be here, and we would love to welcome everybody with my team at our restaurant. If you don't see me at the restaurant, that means I'm in the kitchen cooking. But you have the direct email address on our website. It comes to me directly, and I also put my direct cell phone number, personal cell phone number, on the cover page of the menu. So for any suggestions or any concerns, anything, you can always reach me. Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So does anybody have any questions?
You want to receive public comment?
Okay. You can have a seat, sir. Thank you. I'd like to open it up for public comment. Does anyone have a public comment about the Turkish Flame?
Hello, John Mansfield, 448 Harbour Drive South. My wife and I have eaten there a number of times, and I can assure you it's a wonderful thing to have it here, and there's not going to be any problem with this establishment. So that's all.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else have a comment? Thank you. I'm going to close the public comment. Okay. Can I have a motion?
I move to approve a request for an alcoholic beverage use designation 2 COP for Turkish Flame Mediterranean LLC located at 2699 Gulf Boulevard, Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, and legally described as Lot 1, Block 5, re-revised map of Indian Rocks Beach with the following stipulation. Repeated or intermittent nuisance activity and/or unlawful noise levels originating from the establishment or the parking area may result in the revocation of the alcoholic beverage designation.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Would you like to do the roll? Commissioner Bigelow?
I approve.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Approved. Vice Mayor Wilson? Approved. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg? Yes. Thank you. Now we'd like to move on to other legislative matters. Jay, do you get to talk again?
Mayor, I'm happy to. I'll read the resolution and then you all can make your selections. Resolution number 2025-02, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, appointing a member of the City Commission to serve as Vice Mayor Commissioner and providing for an effective date. And the resolution will be filled in with the name of the selection made this evening.
Thank you. I would like to appoint Jan Wilson as Vice Mayor. Would you like a different tradition? Who would you like to appoint? Yeah.
I approve the nomination.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Lauren, do you have to read the roll on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Bigelow? Commissioner Bigelow?
I approve.
Commissioner Bond?
No.
Commissioner King? Approved. Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Approved. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. And the next resolution?
All right, item 7B, resolution number 2025-03, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, appointing a voting delegate and first and second alternate voting delegates to represent the City of Indian Rocks Beach at the Barrier Islands Governmental Council, Big C meetings, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I typically go to all the Big C meetings. How does the commission vote?
I make a motion that we approve Mayor Hausberg as our delegate to the Big C meetings.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
And then do we need to call the roll on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
And do we do a second one for the alternates?
Yes. We'll do a first and second alternate.
Commissioner Bigelow? Commissioner Bigelow?
You need to.
Just do you approve of Mayor Commissioner Hausberg?
Yes, I approve.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Approved. Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson? Approved. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg?
Yes. All right, and now we need a first and second alternate delegate for the Big C.
I nominate Janet Wilson.
I'll second that. And for a second alternate,
Who would like to go?
okay, we're going to vote on the first alternate.
Commissioner Bigelow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bond?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Approved. Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson? Approved. Mayor Commissioner Hausberg?
Yes. Thank you. And now for the second alternate voting delegate.
I nominate Hillary King.
I'll second that.
And the roll call, please.
Commissioner Bigelow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bond?
Yeah.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson?
Approved.
Mayor Commissioner Hauser?
Yes. So that is our resolutions for the legislative matters. We have no work session items tonight and no other business. Could you make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.